Hello everyone. Yesterday I made this card and I did do an accompanying video, but when I went to check it, when I'd come in to look a bit so you could see a bit closer, I got this dreadful flickering. I don't know what does it, but I couldn't post a video with so much flickering. People who have, you know, photosensitive epilepsy or whatever, it would have been awful. So I've scrapped that, and I thought I would try again, because I quite like the idea for a clean and simple card of having, you know, one small area of quite concentrated interest with a lot of white space all around. So this morning I started again to play. I didn't do any recording, but I was playing, and this is as far as I've got. It's kind of the new improved version. The same tag. This is the tag here. I don't know where it's from. It's I've had it a long time. I've got a box full of tags, and it's one of the larger ones that I have. The largest card size I make normally is this 5x7, and that would make, you know, quite a nice proportion of white space and interest. A few things left to do with this. I'll tell you what I did, and I'll go through some of the processes. Is to stick it onto the card. I've got some double-sided tape on the back. I've got to stick on my butterfly, and there's another experiment that I've got here that I don't know whether it's going to work or not. We'll do that before we get on to the nitty-gritty. In here, I've got a bit of ribbon that I found in the drawer. It was a little bit crumpled, and with this one, this was a ribbon out of the drawer, and I straightened that with my hair straighteners because it was quite kinky. Well, this one, I decided I would try and make a bit more kinky. I quite like the idea of these crumpled ribbons. So what I did was this. I got the ribbon and I screwed it up, and I put some glue on it and rammed it into this cap, hoping that it would keep some of the crinkles. So I think what I'm going to do now, I may not use all of it, and I think I'll just tie a knot. But doesn't it look cute, don't you think? Reminds me of those Gummiapan hazel twig things. So let's stick the butterfly down. I'll use a glue dot for that. Here's a glue dot. Oh, it's a bit small. Let's get a slightly bigger one. There we go. This is a little big, so I'm just going to cut it in half, I think. Okay. I think we'll use this half, yes. Pop the glue dot on the back. There we are. And stick our butterfly on. The background is, you know, just a lot of play, really. I'll show you the processes of what I did very soon. Now, if we just have this threaded through here, I was thinking about a bow, but I think just a bit of a knot might look quite nice. Let's just see. Let me crinkle it back up again. Don't think we need all of that. Let's bring it forward a bit. I could anchor down some little bits of this so that it stays crinkly with some tiny glue dots, which I may well do, but we'll sort that out later. There. What do you think? I could put a sentiment. I may not. I don't know. But we'll stick this down, and then we'll have a finished card. Then it isn't often I start at the end and come back to the beginning, but I will do it in this case. I'll just put a little bit of glue stick on the back of that, just so that I can get my positioning straight without too much worry. Foam tape grabs the cards so readily because it's really, really strong adhesive. I think about there. I may put, whoops, that's not straight. That's what I'm talking about, you see. There, that's okay. Okay. Now, this here is a little bit of gilding flakes. This is a bit of a die cut. We've got stamping, we've got stenciling. So it's a kind of a real mini mixed media, and I'm kind of getting into that recently. So I'll save that bit of ribbon. You never know when that might come in handy. So I may well put a sentiment on that, but we'll see. We will see. And I can arrange that ribbon and, as I say, put some little glue dots underneath in places so that it stays crinkled purposely. All right, now then, I started off with a tag. I hope this doesn't go on too long. And I made, this is my homemade sticky mat. It's half of a carrier sheet of my silhouette portrait. This is Mylar. And so that I could colour my tag and keep the colour on the tag and not all over the sticky mat, I made a mask. Let's go back to basics. And there's the mask. Can you see it? So the mask can go onto the sticky mat, and the tag, which I cut with I made that mask obviously using the die of the tag I'm going to use for the project. So that goes into the gap. And what I did for this card was I made a stencil for these little squares. So to make the stencil for the little squares, I took the die cut that I'd cut to make my mask. I took a piece of low tack tape and a couple of tiny square dies, and I just randomly put them through my die cutting machine. Doesn't matter which side you cut them from. And if you look at one side and arrange them from the back side like this, you can see what your positioning is going to be. So I thought I would try for the next one, maybe to do circles. And rather than do just a tag size, I would just do a sheet of Mylar. The Mylar I buy on Amazon, and it's 250 microns. And I've started here to cut a stencil. I love homemade stencils. You can do just what you like with them. I had a shipment from Gummiapan, and one of the dies was a little heart background aperture. And I made this stencil with that, and that's cut 3 times, 3 cuts of the... In fact, I think it's 4. I went part way with that one and then came back. So, you know, you can make your stencils with practically whatever dies you've got. Sticking to myself here with low tack tape. So this one, I thought I'd perhaps just do one more, and then that'll do as my stencil. And have a look from this side. You can see where they're going. I might put it there. Okay, into the die cut machine. Mylar always makes a cracking sound, so don't worry. And there is my stencil. Always make sure that you take out these little bits before you cut the next one, because otherwise you won't get such a good clean cut. So that is the way I cut a stencil. So I'm going to use this one today. I'll put that one in my stencil box for another time. But I'm going to use this one today. Put my dots away. Keep those out of the way. And arrange it and you can put it where you like, really. But because I've got a mask on the sticky mat, I'm going to have to stick this one down with a bit of low tack tape. Where do I like them? That'll do, I think, like that. Low tack tape is here. And if I put it across the top like that, I can use it as a hinge if I want to for example, if I want to take a look, I can just look like this and put it back down again. It'll be in exactly the same place. Right, okay. I don't know whether to use the same colour or not. I think I might go with perhaps a different colour this morning. I have the other one that I've been using so far was tumbled glass, Distress Oxide tumbled glass. So what do we fancy today? Do we fancy a change? Shall we do a deeper colour? Shall we try, oh, what should we try? Isn't it silly? Let's try Prize Ribbon. Is it Prize Ribbon? Yes, Prize Ribbon. Let's find that one. Prize Ribbon, where's my P? There it is. Although on my chart, I've got them organised in colour families, in my storage units, I've got them in alphabetical order, so I can just go straight to the section I want. Now I need a different blending brush. I need one with a darker blue. Let's have this chap. Okay, and the first thing I'm going to do is just put that colour on to the tag with a blending brush. It's going to be interesting to see what the difference of a you know, difference of a colour makes, really, to the overall effect. The first one was for a baby card with a rabbit on from Charlie and Portion. The second one was just a general greetings, really. It could be anything. I kind of like it, but I'll show you the various processes. What I started to do the whole technique for was to try out my Distress microglaze as a resist effect, and I didn't really get on terribly well with that. By the time I'd finished, you couldn't see whether there was a resist there or not, but maybe this time we can. Now, I want to dry this off because before I do the next process, which is to put on some Distress glaze, I want that to be dry. So because I've put this on a hinge, I can lift that up. Because it's in a mat, in a mask, it can go back exactly where it was. So I'm just going to dry this off a bit with my heat tool. Right, now I'm going to put it back into the same place where it was. Because it's a sticky mat, because I've got a mask, I can do it just that. Okay, there we are back. I'm just going to wipe the ink off the outside of the stencil. There we go. Okay. Now I'm going to put it back and I'm going to put on some of my Distress glaze. Let's get this back in its place. There we are. Now here's my Distress glaze and I'm going to put that on just with my finger, not too much. Now putting this on should prevent any other stamping or stenciling or whatever going over it, except for where I did some gilding. It's got a bit of everything, this card, this tag rather. Right, there's my Distress glaze on, and I'm just going to give that a little bit of a buff with paper towel. I don't know how much you're supposed to put on. It's all a bit of an anathema to me, really. But for that last tag, I was probably wishing I was recording that because I was quite pleased with the way it went. I was quite pleased with the overall effect, the overall result. Because as I was going along, I kept thinking of, oh, I could just do this, I could just do that. So let's see. There we go. Right, I think that's that done. Now we'll take this out and we'll start the next bit. I'll put that away and clean that up later. Now there's my tag. Actually, I think I'm going to keep with my sticky mat. I'll take the stencil off, but I'll keep the sticky mat because it'll keep the tag nice and clean, still rather. Right, let's keep it on the mat. And this will protect the mat, of course. I've got a bunch of stamps that I used. These are all from Indigo Blue. And they're to give sort of texture, a little bit of interest. This one, Open Your Heart. It's just got little bits of sayings, which are very, very small, difficult to read. A crackle stamp and a script stamp. So, can't think where I put all of these, but still, let's just get going and see how we go. So, the first one I put on was not an Indigo Blue, in fact. It was a Stampin' Up stamp, very old one, on a wooden block. It's called Off the Grid or something. So I think I'm going to do that one first. Put this broken china away. Is it broken china? Tumbled glass. Tumbled glass. Let's put tumbled glass away. Right. Ink up our stamp. This is just, you know, layering really. Lots of different layers to make different bits of interest. I'll try and keep this one straight. Okay. That's nice, isn't it? Give this a quick wipe. Right. Next one. You can see at the moment that the stamp goes over the squares, but if I were to rub it, that would come off. Can you see if I just do that? Because it's got the resist on. It comes off. I'll do that later though. Right. Let's put a bit of the crackle. Here's the crackle. Put a little bit of crackle on there. Now I used this a couple of times on the other stamp. So this is what I did before. There we are. Now I'm going to clean that off. I'm trying to keep this kind of monochrome as I did before. So it's just a question of different bits of ink. I'm going to use the gold as well, mind you, but we'll see how that goes in a moment. Right. Right. Wipe this one off. This one looks a bit more busy than the pale blue because I suppose it's the colour is more vivid. Right, the next thing I want to do, I'm just wondering, what I did before was use this one for some gold. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to use this one and I want a paler colour. So what I want to do is just stamp it off, first of all, ink it, stamp it off onto a bit of scrap and then stamp it onto the tag, so it should be a lot paler. Okay, here's just a bit of scrap. What is that? Oh, it looks like I won't use that. That looks like I must have I printed that for the colour. Right. darker. Now this should be much, much paler. And it is. It's just in the background. Okie doke. Right. Next thing, this one, and I'm going to use my Gilding Flakes this time. So let's get that out of the way. That out of the way. This out of the way. And what I'm going to use is my new. I've got the dropsies today. That's the 3rd time I've dropped something. Good gracious me. I'm going to use this glue onto the stamp like this. And I'm going to go over where I did it before, or ish, somewhere. One there, and a bit at the top up here. Right. I'm going to wipe my stamp straight away. Okay. Now, I am going to take this off my sticky mat, and I'll wipe that later. And I'm now going to get my Gilding Flakes. Now with my tweezers, I'm going to put some where I stamped the glue. It's gone quiet, isn't it? Oh dear. I just love Gilding Flakes. Absolutely love them. They've had a bit of revival in my craft room of late. I dug them out and I found a few ways of using them, which has been lovely. Right, one scoochie, cover up that, tamp down, and now we will spread. Isn't that interesting? Look. Give it a nice burnish. Look at that. Whoa. Isn't that lovely? This makes the stamping look like it's in the background. The fact I've used the Distress micro glaze. There we go. Now, for the butterfly, I used this Gummiapan butterfly, and he is actually, or she, a limited edition butterfly. It came from last year's Advent series, and they are dies which are not repeated. If you're interested in Gummiapan's Advent calendar this year, I think it's June is probably about the time where you should start to be thinking about ordering it, because there are a finite number published. So for the butterfly this time, rather than what I did before, was I just cut a piece of double-sided sheet, stuck it onto my piece of scrap, gilded it with my Gilding Flakes, and then die cut it. What I think might look quite nice is if I were to have the butterfly part blue and part gold. So the way I would do that is this. If you want to, get my fingers, if you want to have strong colour, put your ink directly onto the card. If that's what you want, if you want strong colour. If If you want a lighter colour, as there, use a blending brush. Okay, we're going to have a strong colour. I've done my inking. I've got to dry that because I'm going to do some gilding in a moment. I'm just drying this first. I just give my fingers a bit of a, not with nothing in there. Let me get a clean wet wipe. Just clean my fingers a little. A good way to get ink off your fingers, if you've been doing a project like this and they're rather stained, is a little toothpaste on a nail brush and just give a little scrub, and the dye often comes straight off. I found anyway, must be. Whether it's my particular toothpaste or not, I don't know. Now, what I'm going to do this time is to put just a little bit of glue in odd places on here and then dry my gilding flakes. So, with my, make sure I've got plenty of ink, it's just a few bits. Okay. Now I'm going to put on my gilding flakes. This is a big one. Look at that. Goodness. Ooh, wonderful. They're magical, aren't they, these things? I absolutely love them. Absolutely. It's funny how we get such pleasure from small things, isn't it, really? Right, that should do. Lid back on. Scoochy, tamp down. And spread. Okay. You can see the shape of the glue. Swipe, can't you? Lovely. Right, now, if you're not sure, you know, if you've got a solid die like this, and you put it down, and you're not kind of sure what pattern you're going to see, you can always use a negative space, like this one, to position where you want to have your die put. So you just have a look through and quite like that there. So put this on. I'm going to put it straight in. It may not cut through accurately the first time because this is card. If you were to do it, I was recommending the way to do it, I would cut it from a piece of copy paper. A piece of copy paper, you should be able to cut through that and your card in one go. Because this is card, it may not, but I can put the die back in the same place without the negative space and recut. Let's just see. Let's just see how we go. Here's our butterfly. And it's done the job. Can you see? It's fine. But what I'm going to do next is just a little bit more titivation to both of these things. And what I want to use is my old favourite gilding wax. So the way I use it is onto the desk and just a little round the edges. I don't know, it just seems to finish it off somehow. And I like it sort of randomy. I like when little bits protrude onto the actual project itself rather than just on the edge. This one again is slightly different from that one. It's a step forward or backwards or sideways or something or other. Okay, so we've got a butterfly. I need to do a body. I don't know where here's his middle. So I can cut out his middle from somewhere on one of these. Might give him a pretty much all gold bit. Let's cut him out. go, there's his body. It's sort of building up, isn't it? The other thing that I used on this one is this, this is new, it only came yesterday, I think it was, a chicken wire die. And I put a portion of it over like so, which I think I may well do again. I think white might be a bit stark on this one. I think maybe a gold one again might work well. We'll see about that. I've got this tiny bit of stuff here which I can use for there, can't I? Just to tie up the top. This one, now this is an interesting thing. I was looking for a ribbon in the drawer this morning and I came across this packet of little tiny charms, but they're silver. And I thought I would quite like a little charm on there, but silver's not going to go. So what did I do? I gilded it with some of these. I put it onto a piece of card. I used some of this Nuvo Deluxe adhesive, clear drying craft glue, and I daubed that all over the charm, and I dropped some Gilding flakes onto it and just let it tap down a bit, and then I left it to dry, and then I came back and just burnished it off. There's a little bit of silver showing through, but the general effect is gold, and I thought that was a bit of a winner, really. So I'm going to stop there. I'm going to finish this card. I will put it onto my Instagram page. I will put it onto my Facebook page together with that one. And you can see the finished article. And I hope you've, found a few little tips along the way. I've still got the dropsy. To make your crafting a bit more fun and a bit more interesting, maybe. As ever, thank you so much for watching.